Tensei Shitara Slime Datta Ken, WN, Chapter 216. This might be impossible. That's the honest impression of the demon lord Luminous Valentine. Her plan was to kill Dagruel using her strongest technique in the first attack, but it had no effect. With Death's blessing, the life and death reversing technique, Dagruel should have died. However, the result was that the instant death effect was nullified, and Luminous' secret technique was defeated. At that time, Luminous was able to partly foresee that thing would proceed this way. The one-on-one fight between Albert and Grauward continued. Both of them didn't even take a step back, it's seemingly an even fight. However, when the fight between the two was observed with ultimate skill lustful Lord Asmodeus, the situation shows a different outlook. Against Grauward, who's a mass of energy, Albert was distributing energy into every important point of his body. The decrease of their vitality was insignificant, but the difference in the aggregate amount gave hint of the outcome of the battle. In other words, before Albert finished to cut down Grauward, the outcome will be decided. Albert's defeat, that was the situation would be. However, no one could criticize Albert. Rather, with his wonderful skill, he was fighting evenly against the Sword King. If the difference of the energy was not taken into consideration and only the sword techniques matters, it can be said that Alberto's superior. However, even so, the situation didn't change. The way things are going right now, Albert's defeat was just a matter of time. On the other side, the battle between Adalman and Fen also growing intense. The young man with black hair who wears the jet black colored priest clothes against the skinny, small giant who wielding Gleipnir. Adalman had possessed and combined with the death dragon Wenti, and his energy has increased greatly. However, even so, the difference was obvious as Fen who is in front of Adalman can rival a true dragon. For Luminous who can see vitality in numerical form, the differences were despair-inducing. Against Fen who's called both the fighting god and fist god, for Adalman to be able to survive this far was a miracle. In the flurry of throwing, punching, and joint locks, it was obvious that physical strike was the main constituent. Joint locks were meaningless, since for a spiritual life form, physical damage would completely recovered in an instant. He just barely able to modify the technique to perform a throwing technique to deal and blow away the opponent. However, in the end, that technique was for defending. Adalman couldn't expect Fen to be damaged by the throw. In other words, he just stalling for time. After Adalman understands his own disadvantage, he was fighting with the objective of exhausting the enemy by a long period of combat and not aiming for victory. However, even so, he was concentrating so hard like he was treading on thin ice. In Luminous' sight, she could see Adalman's appearance who ward off Fen's attack by casting away all of his defense and manipulated his energy to concentrate it on a point. In order to cover the difference of the energy density, Adalman was fighting by concentrating all of his power on one point. It was already such ability that could be called as a miracle. However, it won't continue more longer. Luminous thought that it wouldn't take a long time for Adalman to lose. And then, Shin, the woman who fighting against Dagruel and standing up many times in front of him. Her appearance reminded Luminous of the hero Chloe who saved her in the past. Blood flows out from her head without any sign of stopping. Even the wound in her whole body, bore new wounds after recovering. Shin's attack couldn't touch Dagruel, she was mortally injured due to Dagruel's counterattack. Even so, Shin stood up, she kept challenging Dagruel over and over. "Ah, Nei-san. Please stop it already. Shin-sama. You can't win against our pops it's dangerous. As it is right now, Shin-sama will." Even Dagruel's sons were flustered at first. However, would they broke through their hesitation mid-battle and, "Pops. We will be your opponents. There's no other way. I'm prepared for it. I'll do it. And then, I'll get praised." Exactly as stated in their determination, they went to face Dagruel. And right now, they were barely alive, bearing serious injury, lying on the ground while being powerless to stand up. Those three were strong as Majins. That's why they were alive. However, that's all. In front of Dagruel's absolute strength, it was all useless. This is impossible, right? There's no reason that we can win. Even I only able to go this far, huh? To Luminous's ear, who reached the stage of resignation partly, "Princess, the preparation for the retreat was complete," such whispered voice was heard. The 7 celestial sages who command the raid seems to have advanced the preparation for a concealed transfer secretly. They have judged that there's no chance for victory in this war and likely to have made their safety a priority. Certainly that's right, certainly, if she was the Luminous from before, she would withdraw without any hesitation. Such thing as going to war with no chance of winning was nonsense. The country can be rebuilt, it wasn't something she need to be concerned with. Luminous and her kin has eternal life, there's no reason for them to fight betting their life on it. However, will I be really fine? Will it be a correct action for me to withdraw from this place? Luminous hesitated. Shin was barely being able to stand up because Luminous' support. She used an ability increasing skill, so even a near-death serious injury would recover immediately. Improving Shin's regeneration power to the utmost limit was also one of Luminous' ability. If Luminous withdrew now, it meant Shin would die immediately. Abandoning the front and running away alone by myself? Such a thing, such an ungraceful action, I'll never accept it. I'm the proud queen of nightmare, you know. And so, Luminous steeled herself. I won't retreat. If by any chance I get killed here, go select the next master from the 7 lords. I'm one of the proud octagram. Such thing as running away ungracefully is not fitting for me. Don't you think so? She said so and sprouted a beautiful smile. An alluring smile which didn't suit the face of a young girl. The 7 celestial sages who heard it have their eyes wide opened with surprise instantly. Their master, who attached so much importance to life, surprised them with such boast. However, at the same time, they were deeply aware. That's right, it didn't suit Demon Lord Luminous Valentine, who called as the Queen of the Night, to be running away. Because she's the vampire princess who always acted gracefully and reigned nobly. I'll not obey such order. Yes. At the time of your ruin, we'll also follow. The 7 celestial sages disobeyed Luminous' order for the first time. Although she was surprised by it, it wasn't unpleasant feelings which perplexed Luminous. Far from it, it was instead pleasant feelings. Phew, You fools. Then, strengthen the barrier quickly. Hurry up, you blockheads. Luminous cheerfully ordered them. As your will. Then, the city defense will I see. Change the barrier's attribute using the holy demonic inversion technique. Don't allow those angels invading the holy city. As long as we buy some time, Demon Lord Rimuru will send reinforcement. Princess, do you believe in Demon Lord Rimuru? Humph. I don't believe in him. However, there are people who believe in their master while fighting. Don't you think that the act is worth believing in? As she said so, the 7 celestial sages shifted their focus on the battlefield. How the Demon Lord Rimuru's subordinates were fighting couldn't be assessed as just stalling for time. In this situation, even they're betting their life to buy time, despite it practically having no meaning at all. It may be reasonable for their own country, but they had devoted their own life in order to defend the territory of an allied country. Their action was a strong proof of them believing that their master would never abandon them. Indeed. Believing such word, we have forgot about it for a long time. Well then, we will start the strategy. May fortune with you, princess. Bowing all together, the 7 celestial sages left. Will it be really all right? So Luminous hesitated. But, she didn't regret. In front of her, Shin stood up once more. No matter how she was wounded, she rises up many times. That's right, I should do the only thing I can do, and so, at the moment Luminous tried to support Shin again. Good grief, I have become the opponent because I feel the sign of awakening, but it's disappointing. Or, because there's a person who defends you, you can be at ease. If that's the case, first I'll deal with your recovery means. That way, you might grow a bit. She heard Dagruel's muttering voice. It took a moment for her to realize the meaning of it. Stop it! Shin shouted in panic, but she received Dagruel's blow and became silent. She didn't seem to be dead, but it was very unlikely for her to move. Glancing at her, Dagruel turned around and began to walk towards Luminous. Luminous prepared herself. Very well, Dagruel. I shall become your next opponent. Luminous put herself on guard towards Dagruel. The words she said for herself, she felt funny in her mind. Far from being an opponent, to Dagruel someone like Luminous was equal to garbage, so she thought. Famu. As expected, Luminous. The pride of a demon lord is not just for show. To Dagruel's words, she laughed thinly. Such thing as pride, she didn't think about it at all. However, Luminous just thought that she didn't want to betray Shin. It's strange. Unlike with Chloe, I haven't associated with her for a long time. Fighting against Dagruel even though there's no chance for me to win. Why didn't I run away? Did I also believe that someone would come to help? Such convenient thing, would not happen. She pondered and understood. Suddenly, the image of that selfish and carefree black dragon crossed in her mind. A smile floats naturally on her mouth. Her appearance made Dagruel felt strange, but he ignored it without saying anything. Well then, here I go. At the same time as him shouting, his fist was thrust out towards Luminous. Her soul was frozen in fear. However, Luminous didn't run away. Evasion was impossible. Recognized that, Luminous mocked herself. It's so different. Struggling till the end. I'm like a different person, but, there was no dissatisfaction, instead, she puffed her chest proudly. At least at the end she has her pride as a demon lord, and she can boast as she challenged a strong person without running away. At least, in her final moments, with her hand, that hateful arrogant evil dragon Luminous' mind then stopped for a moment. It occurred immediately before Dagruel's fist reached Luminous. The time had stopped because of Veldora. Right now, currently. Something happened before Dagruel's fist reached Luminous. The powerful fist in front of her eyes. And then, a palm of someone with tan skin received it. Dagruel's attack, which had an overwhelming power, was obstructed by a man who suddenly appeared in front of Luminous. Then, Quahahaha. I have arrived one. While laughing loudly, the man shouted in loud voice. However, time was currently stopped, the man's voice didn't reach anyone. With the exception of Dagruel. No, it reached Luminous actually. Did he come here? However, Luminous was conscious but her body can't move. In such confusing situation, Veldora's voice reached Luminous. What's this? I can't speak. Has time stopped? But who did it? She was flustered because she shouted instinctively, but Luminous noticed that she couldn't speak. And so, trying to grasp the situation, finally she realized that currently the world's movement had stopped. What a carefree guy! Even when the world stopped, for him to be able to move like it's natural, it was surprising, as Luminous continuously thought. At the same time, it became very ridiculous. The tension that strained her before death had loosened. She felt a sense of relief filled her heart for some reason. Impossible. For me to feel relieved just because Veldora have came, that can't be possible. She threw away such feelings which crossed in her mind and focused on the current situation. There was no light, she couldn't understand anything inside the stopped world. However, Luminous' super-perception began to perceive the situation faintly. Only Veldora and Dagruel who calmly moving. She listened carefully to the conversation of those two. What? The? Even though I have make my entrance coolly with a lot of trouble. For the world to be stopped. Oh, it's Veldora. It was a miraculous timing, but you have my condolences. Even though I said that, I'm not the one who do it, okay. Anu, I know. The one who can do thing like this is probably my Anu too. As for the length, enough to stop time for 2 seconds, that person has the useless habit of stopping time for a long time. Oh well, there's no meaning to stop time for a long time. If there's someone else who can move inside the stopped world, stopping time doesn't have any meaning. That's right. I have advised her several times, but she doesn't listen to me. Oh well, it's fine as I don't really care anyway. She messed around such as stopping time when it was punishment time. Oh well, forget it. There's another thing to discuss. What? To match the timing when the time moving again, I want to redo my arrival. So, as I decided to be cool, it's necessary to make Luminous impressed, you know. Can I hear the reason? Quahahaha. What? it's simply a no. I till now have done various things, therefore, Luminous considerably resents me. If I make her indebted to me while displaying how cool I'm, she would forget everything, that's the plan. Kukukuku. For that reason, I was hiding myself from sight. I don't know when you might go berserk, so I was a bit worried here. Yet, even though I had made my entry so cool with a lot of trouble, it was ruined because of my Anu. That's the reason. Can I ask you for that? Ha! Luminous seemed to hear Dagruel's tired sigh. And then, Luminous also felt the same. This rotten lizard, I'll strangle him later. Luminous raged with her face turning red. If she could move now, she'd gifted him a kick without a doubt. Perhaps, I'd be able to move because of anger. Thinking so, she hated Veldora's attitude. Veldora didn't think that Luminous can hear him in the stopped world, she deemed it to be his carelessness. I'll teach him a lesson without fail later. Luminous sworn so in her mind. At the time when Dagruel about to answer Veldora's offer, there was a person who tried to stand up with a staggering movement. It was Shin. Her eyes were bloodshot, the open wounds on her whole body haven't recovered. However, it was strange that no blood flowing out. While cladding in a strange atmosphere, Shin completely stood up. So Dagruel gazed at her. Shin, huh? You were able to move even in the stopped world? Envy seems to have disappeared. This is, I see. Veldora noticed something and stopped talking. Then, as if to interrupted his word, Veldora-sama. That person, is my prey. Whoa, would you hand over him to me? Shin asked Veldora while panting, using her sword as a cane to stand. Veldora looked at her while squinting his eyes. I see, very well. I will lend you a bit of my power. Fight well to your heart's content. He responded so. Thank you very much. Shin seemed ready to fall, so Veldora supported her. And, from where Veldora touched Shin, his energy flowed. Although I had said that I would lend it to you, there is no fragment of restraint from you yet. Perhaps, I should collect it later from Rimuru, Veldora grumbled, looking worn out while Shin's complexion improved fast. The wounds on her body healed, even her clothes, before anyone aware, had become as good as new. Dagruel raised one of his brow, tolerating it, standing silently waiting for Shin's preparation to complete. Then individual, Shin undergo ability evolution, ultimate skill tyranny. Lord Susanoo was acquired unchanged by even the stopped world, the voice of the world was heard. It was the moment when Shin had awoken ultimate power. I have kept you waiting. However, as you hoped for, I shall give you some amusement. Famu. Well then, I shall accept your offer. The two nod to the other gladly and once again confront each other. In the stopped world where it was difficult to perceive the opponent's presence, the fight between Shin and Dagruel begun. Meanwhile, by any chance, is my turn only, Veldora was anxious about such thing, there was no one who noticed it.